Hey, what's up? HG3 here, and this is our beginners series. We're going to take a look at some basic strategies and basic tactics to help you better understand Gwent. And for the purposes of this video, I've created a budget full test. I believe this is a 0 legendary full test. It's not something you're going to see on the top of ladder, but this will get you through. You can see a bunch of epics, a couple rares. Oh, I did put Renew in, which is legendary. I'm not sure if there's even an epic that I could throw in place of it. Siri, maybe. We could put in Siri and try it like this. Really, the deck isn't the emphasis of this series. It's more so how you want to play in certain situations. So, as things stand right now, round 1 is very important in the game of Gwent. So the first thing you want to consider for round 1 is your hand. How many cards in your hand are playable in round 1? I'm against a monster player. Monster runs some removal, so you can justify keeping maybe one field medic. You definitely don't want more than that. Reaver Scout's a good pull. Most of these cards here look playable. Shani, of course, not too playable, but getting rid of cards that are only one of in your deck is a bit of a risk. And Commander's Horn, perhaps I could throw back into the deck if I want to, since it's monsters and they likely have weather to remove the value from Commander's Horn. After your mulligan, you want to determine which line of play will get you in a good position to push for strength, to try and keep yourself ahead of your opponent without yielding too much value in return. So, looking at my hand, I obviously have a Reaver Scout, which can pull another card out of my deck, which will add a lot of strength as a secondary play. But my first play, I have to start off and give the Reaver Scout something to work with. So we're against monsters, and if we force out the Torrential Rain, it's an opening for the Blue Stripes Commando. So I don't mind opening with the Redanian Elite. The response here from monsters can be something like Torrential Rain. It can be Water Hag. This is of course against the bot for the sake of being more of a tutorial kind of piece. And I don't want to be roping players to try and explain concepts on a video. I do that enough in my live stream. So the Reaver Scout is not that big of a hit played into Fog here. And it creates a bit of a threat. Because now there's 2 Redanian Elites sitting back here. And the third one not only brings out 6 strength on its own, but it also adds 6 strength as a whole because they all turn gold. So the play that we do here with full test based Reaver Scout decks is that we want to get all the other Reaver Scouts out of the deck and the Elite. Right now there's 14 cards in my deck. Keep a close look at this as I copy this Reaver Scout, rally out 1 Reaver Scout, 2 Reaver Scouts, and a third, which now locks in my Redanian Elites at a gold value of 24 strength. But I did take a hit of 6 strength on the range row by playing into Fog. This is fine because now my deck is down to 11 cards, whereas my opponent has 16 cards left in their deck, which is quite a lot. Usually you never have 16 unless Johnny's on the board, but I suppose that the bot is using a deck that has more cards than usual. Now I had cards that I could act on his board. I could be more responsive if I wanted to. But I'm more intent on my own actions, and it kept me ahead. If I were to lacerate here to prevent perhaps a Thunderbolt Potion from coming out, I'd only be removing 3 strength. It is a decent move sometimes for preventative, but I want the tempo. I want to feel ahead. And now this 24 strength is so hard for my opponent to deal with that I can start making other plays. Now, again, I want to try and stay ahead. So something I'm interested in doing is playing a card that's going to play an additional card, which is like Priscilla right here.
Let's show him what
Priscilla's going to go into the deck. We have the choice of a Kidweni Sergeant or a Field Medic. Obviously, we are not too interested in the Field Medic since our grave is empty right now. So we're going to take the Kidweni Sergeant. And this is a known glitch right now, but breaking the Woodland Spirit really doesn't do anything. Instead, we usually just break our Redanian Elite, and he re-golds. I'm not sure if it's a glitch actually, or if it's just the way it interacts. But you can see that now I'm still up 6 strength after his play, so he still has to keep playing if he wants to catch up to me on the board. This is called tempo, and everyone understands that term, and It's very valuable. So now I have to decide, am I comfortable with 6 strength, or do I want to play an additional card to go up more? Since I'm ahead, now I have an opening where I can also play a disloyal card. Stennis is a disloyal card. He allows me to draw from my deck, so I'm gaining card advantage through this play. You can see my hand size right now is at 7. His hand size is at 7. But Stennis, since he gets played and then draws, will preserve me at 7 while he has to play an additional card. So we'll use Stennis. Sheila's an interesting card. Could take her. She's not really playable this round, so instead I'll take the risk on the random, and I get a nice card in Naneka. Have my reses for next round. Now he plays and I'm behind, but am I behind by a large margin? Not really. Lacerate's here to remove 7 strength if I want it, which puts me back in the lead. Or if I want to make a bigger tempo play, I could play John and Talos. John and Talos will come on the board for 7 strength with the Northern Realms passive. Gold units get 2 more strength. Then he'll add 3 on 3 separate occasions, which is on top of a unit, so units in weather can have 3 strength added to them. So this is the play to put me in more of a position ahead where it may force a pass out of my opponent.
Temeria has yet to speak its last.
Now I'm up by 13 strength. And the number we're usually looking for to be up by is around 13, because many gold cards can play for 12 strength. If you're against Northern Realms, there's some gold cards like Vernon Roach and Triss, Marigold, that can play for 14. But against monsters, 12 strength is a nice cushion. Unfortunately, the additional fog is there. Removes the strength I added onto these Reaver Scouts. But we're still up 7 now. So now, again, now I reevaluate this lacerate, which I had passed on earlier. It's a lacerate that will deal 4 by removing these 4 units and then 3 over here. So 7 total strength. That puts me back to a place where I'm up 14. So I keep my lead. I preserve my lead at a level that makes it tough for the opponent to respond accurately. And now when he passes here, I win the round, and we look at the number of cards in hand. Because I played ahead as efficiently as possible, we're even on cards going into round 2. So this is an amazing situation. This is great for the player that is creating the tempo and playing ahead. And that's occurring because of my willingness to play more aggressive, to play John Natalis. Playing gold cards in round 1 is not necessarily a bad thing. I know a lot of players like to shy away from it, but it's not the end of the world. And winning round 1 is very important because now my options moving forward are greater. I can look to maybe res Priscilla out of the grave instead of resing for strength to look for something in my deck. I can do so much more going into round 2 than I could if I was going into round 2 down. And you see how 14 strength comes into play because even though he's playing Eridan, Eridan's only playing for 10. And if he plays Eridan, he goes down to 4 cards. I have an opportunity where I can pass. And then there's the potential for me passing, being up 5 to 4 cards. He would have to play down to 3 cards going into round 2 in a risky situation to try and compete with me in round 1. These kind of situations pop up all the time. Is it worth it to go down 2 cards against an opponent? And sometimes it is. It depends on what your hand looks like, what the condition of the round is. Being down 2 cards when your opponent only has 2 or 3 cards in hand is different than being down 2 cards when your opponent has 5 cards in hand. There's just too much for your opponent to work with. So when you think about round 1, you have to think about this kind of tempo and pace, playing big but playing smart and methodically as well, so that your opponent doesn't have too many opportunities to surpass you. And now, just for science, we'll see if I win the game.
Yield and save me some time.
This video is only about round 1, so if I lose, don't judge me. I swear, it's not my fault. Good news, I won the game. I did not lose to a bot. So, those are some good thoughts for you to think about in round 1. Trying to play ahead. And you have to also consider what you should do versus what you want to do sometimes. Sometimes you want to be able to thin your deck by playing Priscilla, but is that play going to keep you ahead? What preserves the lead and makes it more reasonable for you? That's a real big emphasis, because otherwise you can play yourself into these holes where you're down several cards going into round 2 and the game gets increasingly difficult to win from there on forward. So I hope this video has helped you. I'm HG3. I'm going to try and do some more videos on beginner concepts, keep it short and sweet and to the point. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like if you liked it, dislike if you don't like it, and I will see you next time here at Gwent City. Peace.